Welcome back to Nick Lenz Movie Review, episode number 117. Now we go from a mixedly received film to a awesome movie. A film that I saw with my dad 2 years ago. Logan, directed by James Mangold. Yeah, he's back from the Wolverine direct this film because I think Fox realized though, yeah, he did a good job directing the Wolverine, so they figured though, bring him back to do this fantastic stroke of genius when it comes to Fox, when it comes to movie. Of course, you have Hugh Jackman back at the last time as Wolverine. We also see the return of Patrick Stewart as Professor Charles Xavier, basically in their final performances as these two characters. This film was noteworthy for the live-action debut of this lovely little girl, X-23, played by an actual, this is the actual age of this character. Let me look up how old she is. But yeah, this is actually her biggest film today, and it's her only R-rated movie she's ever been in. Yes, I kid you not. This film is R-rated. Yes. Which, you gotta give props to the fact that Deadpool is responsible for this. Yeah, if Deadpool had not been a success, Fox would not have been convinced to do an R-rated Wolverine film, and we finally got one. Which I am so happy with that. Oh yes. Now Laura herself is played by, let's see if I can find it here. He's played by Dr. King. Yes. Which I think this was her first film she was in. Yeah, this was her first film she actually was in, her debut performance. I gotta say, for her first film, she did a really good job playing this character. And get this, she's the actual age of the character. Yeah, she's playing a 12-year-old, and she is 12. Well, at the time the film's released. Yeah. We also see Caliban in the movie, though this is confirmed by the director. This is a different Caliban that showed up in X Apocalypse. Yeah, completely different version, so I think it's a similar power set. Yep. We also see the live-action debut of Donald Pierce. I was so disappointed with this. I'm like, Donald Pierce. What the heck is doing a Wolverine film? The guy has almost virtually nothing to do with Wolverine at all, aside from the fact these two have barely followed each other in the comics. Which I'm kind of like, okay, now I heard a rumor, and this is a really big rumor, that the original main villain for this one was going to be Mr. Sinister. Yes, that was supposed to be the original main villain for this movie. For some reason, they placed it with the son of the member of the Weapon X program. Yeah, Dr. Xander Rice, who actually, believe it or not, is like a character from the comics. Yeah, he really is. He actually is responsible for the X-23 project. So, like X-23, he's a creation of Craig Gow and Chris Yost. Yep. First appearance was in the first X-23 miniseries. Yeah, in the comics, this guy is responsible for creating X-23. In the movie, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Yep. Yeah. But, yeah, that's the only disappointing thing about this film is the villains. I mean, the guy who created X-23, at least he's associated with Wolverine, Dr. Xander Rice. Yes, that character is indeed true, though he's a minor character from the comics. Yeah, something though. The main villain of this movie is a minor villain from the comics. Oh, and also, who does Wolverine fight in his final battle in this movie? A clone of himself, X-24. When I saw this, I'm like, was this plan to be Sabretooth? Yes, I think the original plan was probably make this guy Sabretooth. Because that would make a heck of a lot more sense than what this was. Now, the movie begins quite unusually. Wolverine is driving a limo. And this is set like a year after Days of Future Past. Set in the year, I think it was like 2025, I think it was. Oh, 2029. Yep. And yeah, apparently something happened after the end of the previous film that caused apparently like fact there's no more mutants anymore. Yeah, apparently mutant gene pretty much disappeared. So I'm like, That's weird. How the heck did that happen? Yeah, the film itself doesn't really delve into that at all. What's Wolverine doing? He's drinking. Yes, heavily drinking. Now, this part of Wolverine is true. He does drink a lot in the comic books. Surprisingly, in this film, unlike his other appearances, he doesn't smoke any cigars. Which, that's kind of weird for Wolverine. Because if you look at his previous films, in the first two X-Men films, he had a cigar in his mouth, which that's true with Wolverine. The Wolverine, he didn't bother to smoke. Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, he's there, he's smoking the first two X movies. Last Stand, I don't think he even basically pulled out a cigar like he usually does. This film, he doesn't smoke at all. I think he may have stopped smoking because that was one of the things about one of the key visuals about Wolverine was having a cigar in his mouth, just like Nick Fury. Kind of good thing that Sam Jackson Nick Fury doesn't smoke on screen because, well, that'd be kind of bad for him. Also, and this is something you probably won't see from Patrick Stewart very much, him swearing on screen. Yeah, for me personally, this is the first time I've ever seen him in a movie where he actually swears. Yes. And that's unusual for me to see that for Patrick Stewart. Awesome actor he is. But never heard, I'm sure other people have probably heard him swear in movies, but this is the first time I've ever heard him swear. Excuse me. In the case of Hugh Jackman, I think he has sworn before on screen, but I don't remember which film it was. Patrick Stewart? No, he never has. He even dropped an F-bomb in here. Yes. Why is Xavier with Wolverine and where is Xavier Institute? Something happened with the X-Men. I'll get to that soon. It's kind of a very strange explanation what the heck happened to them. Yeah. So, let's see. So, if you watch this, you won't know it's a comic book movie at all, aside from the fact Logan said, like, when the trailer first came out, no one knew what type of movie this was at all when it came out 2 years ago. It wasn't until Wolverine popped out his claws that we actually knew what type of movie it was. Now, I do appreciate the fact they actually keep sort of a lot of elements. The movie is heavily inspired by Old Man Logan. There was a rumor this one was going to adapt Old Man Logan and replace the main villain from being Red Skull to being the Blob. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that didn't happen because that would have been so stupid. I mean, the original story, the Red Skull is the main villain in that story. This film did not need the Blob as the main villain. Blob is not, let's say, leader material. He's more of a henchman. That's what the Blob is. He's good on his own, but he's not good at being leader of a group. The only time he led a group is when an unsuccessful attempt to attack the X-Men to make his debut appearance. As far as I can tell, he's never done this again since then. And fun fact, if you look at basically all the Wolverine solo films, Xavier's always made an appearance, which is quite interesting. Though the first two films that he appeared in, it was more of a small cameo. This film, it's basically a full-on supporting role, which that's a pretty smart move. And basically, Logan is buying these drugs to suppress Xavier's mutant ability. Yes, apparently because he's gotten so old, apparently his telepathy can cause the whole planet to shake now, which is something he never developed in the comics itself, which it's interesting the fact they went this route. And at least I appreciate the fact, unlike the way he was written in Last Stand, at least this film, he's actually written to be a pretty competent character. He's not possessive over a woman like he was in Last Stand. And though I don't blame that on Stewart, I don't blame that on Brett Ratner, I blame it on Simon Kinberg writing him that way. Yeah, Kinberg is the reason why that had to be that way. Yeah. For this film, it's good. So, he gives him medicine. Of course, he's swearing. He's in his bunker on the other side of the Mexican border. Yeah, as for why he's there, apparently they're hiding from the government for some reason. Because of Charles Xavier. He did something kind of bad that Wolverine's actually keep his power suppressed. They don't explain until like halfway through, until what bad thing happens to Xavier toward about halfway through the movie. Yep, they're basically acting normal, and then Laura shows up. Yes, Laura. Yes, aka X-23. I at least got appreciate about this for for how the character is portrayed in the movie. Like, they reveal in the movie that she is indeed Logan's daughter, which that is true in the comic books, and also her placement of her claws. I was so happy with this because I love the character X-23. My friend Edgar is one of his favorite characters. They keep the fact that she has two claws in her hand, just like her father, claws in her hand, but she also has a claw at each foot. Yes, that by far was a brilliant stroke of genius on the people who made the special effects for the movie. Because at least they bothered to read the comic books. Even though, yes, she doesn't wear or any of her outfits, she doesn't wear the comics, but at least he got the placement of her claws right. At least don't have a third claw come out of her freaking wrist like she's freaking Spider-Man, like her brother, Dokken. By the way, Dokken has never made a live action appearance. Isn't that quite weird? I mean, Laura makes appearances before he does. Which is quite interesting because she made her debut I think it was about 2 or 3 years before Dokken did, which makes perfect sense. The fact she does. And the fact that she's actually 12, which now most of the time she's seen on screen up until a little bit later in the movie. She doesn't speak a single word at all. And then she's there for less than 5 minutes, and then somehow Donald Pierce and the Ravers show up. Yes, like with Donald Pierce, I was so disappointed in the Ravers. I think the Ravers are great characters. I love their look, very cyborg mercenaries. I love the way they look. In the film, they're just some guys with cybernetic parts. Yeah, this was another disappointment with this movie. The Ravers, it's like the people who actually designed the special effects for the Ravers apparently didn't read anything about the Ravers at all. They just heard the name and just gave, oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Donald Pierce is a freaking cyborg. He's not a man with cybernetic limbs. He's a full-on cyborg with organic skin. That is how he's been portrayed in the comics for years. He's been portrayed like that since the 80s. Why the heck they decided to make him a henchman of a guy from the Weapon X program? Now here's kind of the thing about the Ravers, Donald Pierce, and the Weapon X program. Donald Pierce has been associated with Ravers in the comic books. That part is true. Even before this film came out, he's been one of his last known appearances was with the Ravers. As for him being associated with the Weapon X program, or at least a version of it anyways, it's basically a company of a movie. Yeah, here's kind of thing about this. That they have never had association with the group in the comics. This is completely made up for the film. Yes. So basically, they have to. Apparently, Laura is a big X-Men comic fan. The way they portrayed her. Yeah, they sort of have an alternate drawing of the X-Men comics, which this is an Easter egg. Though I did hear a rumor that apparently Chris Claremont was going to make a cameo in this movie. And apparently Hugh Jackman was going to visit him. Okay. I don't know how they could have accomplished this in 2029. By the way, that happens in 10 years from now. This film came out 2 years ago. So roughly, when this film came out 2 years ago, this film was set 12 years in the future. Yes, and apparently there's not been a new mutant born in 25 years. So the last mutant born was back in 2004. Yeah, which I thought that was. Now, my only guess is the reason why they did that is because this film kind of undid the events of X-Men Last Stand. Though, no one can deny the best thing about the film was freaking Beast. Oddly enough, there's no mention of Magneto in this movie at all. Yeah, I know for a fact it's mentioned something bad happened to mutants. As for what the heck it is, they don't really explain. It's kind of like what mutants are in fact not around anymore. So they go on the run in Wolverine's truck, and they go to various cities. They go to a hotel, and Wolverine's getting supplies. So I love this little thing. I love the scene of Xavier and Laura just watching a Western, and him saying he actually saw this in theaters back in when it first came out. Yeah, it's a wonderful grandfather-granddaughter moment, and kind of in the way Logan kind of treats Xavier kind of like a disgruntled father, like a crazy old man. So if you kind of look at it, Xavier kind of acts like the father to Logan, and of course Logan is basically the father of Laura. So yeah, kind of a great moment, which at least got praise the fact Xavier's got, well, parenting skills, and the fact he mentioned the fact that he used to be a teacher, which good on the writing for mentioning that. Yeah, I love all the performance by Patrick Stewart's movie is so freaking good. hmm And then the building starts shaking because it's like because the building's going haywire. Apparently, he suffered from I think it was like Alzheimer's. I think it was. I think it was, yes. Oh, it's dementia. Yeah. So apparently, yeah, it's okay. What happened with the X-Men? He apparently had a siege that caused death a lot of the X-Men. What X-Men were killed? The movie does not bother to explain that at all. Yeah, which is kind of weird. Yeah. I don't know why it's like that for, but it is. But this film technically takes place 1 year after the ending of the Wolverine stuff in Days of Future Past. So they leave and they go like in the countryside. They run into this couple. So they stay in some bed upstairs, and then you have Xavier think he sees Logan, but actually it's X-24, a version of a clone Wolverine who looks like a young Hugh Jackman for some reason. And like I said, I think this character is supposed to be Sabretooth. But my guess is, and this is my personal theory, maybe Liv Schreiber was busy, so they couldn't have in the movie. So, of course, he was the most recent person to play Sabretooth. I like his version better than the one from X-Men because this is what I guess. He may not like fully like look like Sabretooth in the way he was portrayed in X-Men, but he at least acted like Sabretooth. Aside from the stupid thing to making him like Logan's half brother, that was a really stupid idea. So yeah, Xavier is killed by X-24, and then of course they had the final battle later on between Logan and X-24. So he's of course Wolverine does meet up with Dr. Rice. He's like, hey, didn't I kill your old man? And he's like, yeah, you did. And of course he mentioned his father. It's like, yeah, I killed him. Yeah, just admits it. And the thing is, apparently Dr. Rice doesn't hate Wolverine for killing his father. No, which is kind of a surprise because usually in fiction, usually people who will go after killers usually hate the people who kill their parents. This is one of the rare occasions where this guy just it's like it's fine. I didn't like him anyways. Yeah, it's one of the rare occasions where it's like that. So they have a fight and he kills off some of his soldiers. Of course, Wolverine and Laura go. They basically hightail out of there. Of course, Laura starts talking. Of course, Logan does publicly admit to some people that this woman is in fact his daughter, despite the fact prior to roughly like a couple days prior to this movie, he never knew this woman even existed at all. Yep. And they're apparently hunting for this special place related to the X. I love all the X Easter eggs they put in this movie. They reference like previous X-Men Adventures, which that was really nice. And they basically make it to the woods, maybe with some clones. They break into this facility where they free a bunch of people, and it's something only have a 12-year-old R-rated movie, which I'm kind of like, that's something. So yeah, they free a bunch of like Terrigen Kit, like people who are created, who are clones of actual other people, like children of other known mutants, like Richter and a few others. So they basically race across the campus, get this special facility like this sanctuary. And now the way now you see the X-Men getting drawn in these little comics that she has, they have completely different outfits they're known for having in the comic books. It's like this, most like a lot of blue and a little bit of yellow. But it looks like very similar adventures that they know for going on. I think it was, I don't know if it was Jim Steranko who did this artwork. I don't think it was David Cockrum. No, because the guy was dead prior to this movie. So it's probably either Jim Steranko or it could have been one of the other artists. I don't know who drew this artwork, but it's really good in the movie. And of course, Logan points, yeah, we didn't go on a lot of these adventures. Yeah, someone just made these up. So of course, Wolverine. Well, Logan, he's not referred to as Wolverine in the movie. Logan has this battle with X-24, where he just gets to kill him, but it also kills him himself. And of course, Laura acknowledged him as his father. They bury him with a big X, and well, they just go to the Kennedy board, and that's the movie ends. This overall is a really good movie. Sad to see Wolverine die like this. Also, here are some things they reveal about Wolverine movie. The fact he's died for antimony poisoning, that's kind of a hint of the Old Man Logan from the comic books, and also the fact that this is another thing he drew from the comic, aside from the antimony poisoning, which that part is true. The other is his claws come out more slower than usual because he's older. Now, this is something that the movie never also explained. Okay, Wolverine has maintained the same age, at least the look, appearance-wise, over a century. At what point does healing factor start failing and where he allows to age normally? Yeah, the movie doesn't bother explaining it at all. But that's the final performances of Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart as both Logan and Professor Charles Xavier. They're both really, really good. Yeah, and surprisingly for an R-rated movie, there's barely any nudity in the movie. Heck, usually R-rated movies is known for having lots of sex. That movie, this movie, no sex at all, which is quite interesting. The fact that you have a superhero movie and it's rated R, and you don't have a sex scene. My only guess is the reason why I did because it had a little girl in the movie. That is my only personal theory, because we have a 12-year-old, so no sex scene in the movie. And plus, Hugh Jackman's not looking for another woman. At all. Yeah. Now, apparently, Xavier was one killed the X-Men like in the comics. It was Logan who did that, thanks to an illusion created by Mysterio. Yep. Now, how he was able to get dementia is never explained. It's okay, so we had this is the last thing to play these characters. Let's send them out in a nice blaze of glory. This film overall is really good. I love it. I give this film a 10 out of 10. Great way to end Hugh Jackman's time as Wolverine, and at least I appreciate though the fact this film took do you know how long it was between this film and the Wolverine? It only been 4 years. In the case of Wolverine's last appearance, it only been a year. Yeah. And the previous appearance before that was about 2 years prior to this film, which was his only appearances were in the first 3 films, and then he made a cameo in X-Men First Class. Of course, he appears first after last name was X-Men Wolverine, and his cameo in First Class, which came out in 2011. His next appearance came out 2 years later with The Wolverine. Excuse me. Yeah, he appeared in every single X movie except for Deadpool 1 and 2. Yeah, the only films he's not make appearance in. I mean, there's a picture of him pop movie, but physically, no, he never did. I have heard also he does support Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. But yeah, that's something quite weird for a trilogy of films, where the first film was the worst one of the entire film series, because usually a lot of time in trilogies, the third film was the weakest film. This film was kind of the opposite, where the first film is the worst one in the entire series. The second one was a tremendous improvement, and it's kind of middle ground, halfway point good. And of course, you had the best film, the last one. Yep. I give this film basically a 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good film. My only problem with the film is the villains. Yeah, that's the only problem with the film was the villains. Everything else about the film is fantastic. Great way to end the film series for Logan. Though X-Men still has one other film I still have to review, and that's Dark Phoenix. I won't review that film until I see the film. My next film I'm going to talk about is the first film of the MCU. Yes, I'm going to talk about Iron Man 1 in episode 118. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I was thinking of doing an episode of Fire Force, but I don't think I'll have time to do it tonight. I'll probably do it tomorrow along with a review of Case Close, okay? to you next view. Bye.